All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going? It's good to see you. Good to be here. Welcome to the Lab 2.0. That's where we are. We're in the 2.0 realm. And it's good to see you. Let's see. Let me say hi to you guys here. Alicia, Linda, Frosty, Heather, Kimberly. How are you guys? You guys hear me okay? All right, that's good. That's good. How's everybody doing today? It is Monday, October 25th, 2021. Hello to you. Today was, wanting to talk a little bit about the let's see, the Larry Millette situation, how they just had this man in jail. And let's see, 26th here. Yeah, you're ahead of me here. So let's see. Dottie, Kaylee, Kay, how are you? Steph, how are you doing? Jen, it's good to see you as well. Jean. And let me see here. Hold on. Let me bring this chat up really fast on my phone. Mandy, how are you? Rosemary, Jen, K, Linda. I'll see here. 1 second. Wrong channel. Got two different channels. Two different channels, two different feels, two different, double your pleasure, double your fun. Switch over to this. And let me do a little something here. All right. I just had to take care of something really fast. Hello, Yvonne. How are you? How is everybody? It's good to be here. Hello, Yvonne. How are you? Let me see. Let me get rid of that. Hey, Fristy. Where is hey, I left a message. Hey, I left a message on the story you did. Two guys killing the homeless guy. They just found my nephew. Dead for 3 days. I'm really sorry to hear that. It was just, wow. That's an absolute shame. I'm so sorry to hear that. Frosty, welcome. Welcome. It's good to see you guys. And like I said, I'm really sorry. VZ, good to see you. Backyard, how are you? I don't have any more baby Ruths. I wish I did, but I don't. So we will. we will continue. I wanted to listen here really fast to the press conference about Larry being arrested, and I was going to talk about this case just a little bit. I wrote removed, please. I'm going to go for now. Chat removed, please. I'm going to go for now. Salem, Oregon. How are you, Tammy? Tiffany, how are you? Good to see you guys. Let's go ahead and just take a listen. Wow, yeah.
That are here. First, I want to recognize the mayor. Before we get started in the press conference, I wanted to let you know that there'll be two speakers. The first speaker will be the Chula Vista Police Department Police Chief Roxana Kennedy, and the second speaker will be the San Diego County District Attorney Summer Steffen. I also wanted to recognize several individuals that are to my left that helped make this investigation possible and lead to the ultimate arrest that took place earlier today.
By the way, this is how a family searches.
And that would be FBI from San Diego Special Agent in Charge, Suzanne Turner, and also from the United States Marshal Service, Supervisor Deputy Marshal Paul Bill. And then, of course, I wanted to recognize May's family, which are all to my right here. And May's sister, Mary Chris, will be saying a few words today, and she'll be representing May's family. With that, I'd like to introduce the Chula Vista Police Chief, Roxana Kennedy. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As Lieutenant Pink mentioned, my name is Roxana Kennedy. I'm the Chief of Police for the Chula Vista Police Department. And I want to first thank everyone for attending today's press conference with such short notice. Along with our law enforcement leaders, I am joined today by May MILLETE's family, her friends, and our community members. Today at 11:42 a.m., the Chula Vista Police Department SWAT team served an arrest warrant and arrested Larry MILLETE for the murder of his wife. Larry was taken into custody at his home and was alone at the time of his arrest. And I know many of you are.
Yeah, you know, you look at the sister and it's heartbreaking, but you know, it's just bittersweet. You wish that this wasn't happening, but it's happening. And the poor kids, who I can relate to very, 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 very well, have a long, long road ahead of them. God bless them.
I want you to know that they are safe. May was first reported missing to the Chula Vista Police Department shortly before midnight on January 9th, 2021. May was last seen 2 days earlier by family members at her residence located in East Chula Vista. Since being notified of May's disappearance, officers and investigators have remained committed and determined.
It's not a backup.
Determining the circumstances, the circumstances behind her disappearance. As the scope and complexity of the investigation grew, so did the size and the scope of the investigative effort. The Chula Vista Police Department began a formal partnership with a multi-agency working group, including the San Diego District Attorney's Office, the FBI, and NCIS. The primary goal was to bring May home to her family or bring justice to the person responsible for her disappearance. To date, the investigation has included over 67 search warrants, 87 interviews, review and investigation of over 130 tips, and thousands of hours of methodical investigative efforts. These efforts ultimately generated a variety of pieces of evidence that
By the way, I really want to compliment the husband of Mary Chris. Unbelievable human.
Have become clear and overwhelming. Larry MILLETE, May's husband, is responsible for May's murder and disappearance. Today is a step towards justice, but it does not mark the end of our investigation. The Chula Vista Police Department will continue.
Well, Eric, I have a little bit of insight because I was that exact kid where my dad had parental rights. It's not as clear cut and dry as you're stating it. And especially the laws have changed a bit. He may, you know, they're still his children. If he's found guilty, how would he be able to care for the children? So he wouldn't be able to. And then they would go with probably the closest family member, I would assume. Usually they go to the other side of the family, usually, not always, but usually. And so we'll have to keep an eye on that because that's a huge part of this case too. The children make it more messy than a completely messy situation. It's sad.
To seek answers for her family. Today is about May, and I'd like to tell you a little bit.
My father never lost. I would say my father never lost custody of us, but it wasn't a custodial issue. It was, well, he lost custody. Yes. Parental rights. I mean, you don't get those when you're in prison. You don't get anything like that.
About her. May was loved by her family and friends and was committed to her children. May's murder and disappearance has impacted so many over the past 9 months, including many people who had never even met May. Yet they rallied around her family and helped keep May's disappearance in the spotlight. While understandably the family and public want answers, our investigative team must follow the facts and the evidence that has led us to today. Our team did not stop. They relentlessly pursued justice. They wanted nothing more than to find out what happened to May, and as we now know, to hold her killer accountable. Homicide detectives say that they speak for victims who cannot speak for themselves. Their mission is one of compassion for victims.
I don't know if Mary Chris and her family are going to. I don't know if she's going to fight for custody or who's going to fight for custody. I mean, you really got to wait for the trial to be over. It's messy. It's a really, really messy situation. And, but at least they have a shot at seeing them again soon. The children
and victim families. They are dedicated to being able to bring closure and accountability to those involved in these tragic events. This case will ultimately be placed in the hands of a jury who will be given the chance to evaluate all the evidence and the facts. While we are here to report the arrest of Larry MILLETE, nothing will change the fact that May's murder is a senseless tragedy. A mother is gone.
Yeah, and I don't want to think too much for Mary Chris and her family, but I mean, these are fighters. These are absolute fighters. And I wouldn't be surprised if they throw their hat in the ring for custody, because they're relentless. They search every weekend. These people don't give up. And I couldn't see a judge looking at them and saying that they're not fit to be the guardians of these kids. And I would really hope, that they would be able to go with at least their mother's side of the family. That's how it worked with us. We were allowed to go to my mother's side of the family.
A family is broken, and a community is left with questions and confusion. This affects us all, but it affects most of all those who loved and cared for me. Today, you will notice that officers and family members are wearing purple ribbons. It is not lost on any of us that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Domestic violence is prevalent in every community and affects all people regardless of age, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, race, religion, or nationality. This is a time to acknowledge domestic violence survivors and be a voice for its victims. I would like to thank my entire team at the Chula Vista Police Department that you all see around you, along with our partners, the District Attorney's Office and DA Summer Steffen, FBI San Diego and Special Agent in Charge Suzanne Turner, U.S. Marshals San Diego Division and Supervisor Deputy Marshal Paul Beal. And unfortunately, they couldn't be here today, but San Diego NCIS and Special Agent in Charge Josh Flowers. I'd also like to give a special thank you to the Cold Case Foundation, who also helped through this process. Their support of all these partners and their commitment.
Cold Case Foundation. That's Chris's foundation.
Has been invaluable
Shout
to this
out
case.
the interview room.
I would
Shout
also
out
like to thank the many volunteers
Chris,
and community members
Dills,
who are here today.
K-Dogs.
Thank you. You've been there the whole time to support May's family, and we appreciate it. And to May's family, I want you to know that I pray every day that we find May and we get closer to your family. I'd now like to introduce our District Attorney, Summer Steffen.
Thank you, Chief Kennedy. I'm Summer Steffen, San Diego County's District Attorney. On Monday, October 18th, yesterday, my office filed a criminal case in San Diego County Superior Court charging Larry MILLETE with the murder of May. More specifically, count 1 alleges that Larry MILLETE unlawfully killed May on or about January 7th of 2021 in violation of Penal Code Section 187. There's also a second charge of illegal possession of an assault weapon. Following his arrest today, the defendant was booked into jail and is being held without bail. He is scheduled to be...
And the without bail is super important because, from how I understand it, that, this guy was ready to fly the coop.
He's scheduled to be arraigned this Thursday at 1:30 in the afternoon at the South Bay Courthouse. Whenever one of our community goes missing, we hope for their safe return. I know that is what May's family wanted. Sometimes missing person cases remain unsolved. But as the evidence unfolded in this case, meticulously and carefully, block by block, it pointed in one direction, that May was murdered. As we make this announcement, I know the hearts of the community are broken, as are the hearts of May's family. I wish we had better news for them. The only thing that we can do in the face of this senseless violence is to bring justice, to work tirelessly to make sure that we cannot bring May back, but that we can bring justice. And that's what it's about. As we make this announcement, understand that there's going to be questions about the fact that May's body is still missing. California law, and similar to across the nation, is very clear that the murder charges, that we can file murder charges despite not having a body. In fact, the law is so crystal clear that we cannot let someone murder someone and gain a benefit by hiding the body in a way that we can't discover it. In fact, there is case law that we will be using in this case that makes it even.
And by the way, what a great law that is, because, I mean, you know, if you have the resources, knowledge, and way to get certain places, I mean, you can disappear a body in California rather easily. And just because you don't have a body doesn't mean a crime wasn't committed. Usually what they use is electronic forensics, email. You know, there's a lot of things. It does make it harder, but it's not impossible. So, and what they're going to try and do is they're going to try and break Larry to lead them to the body, cut him some sort of deal. Maybe, you know, I it's hard to speculate. I don't know if it would be a death penalty case. Those are tough. Death penalty cases are tough when they're tough when you don't have a body. They're tough anyway. And so what they might end up doing is cutting him some sort of deal. Like, we won't pursue the death penalty. Not saying that would work anyway, because people sit for 20, 25 years. I don't know how many people in California get arrested anymore, but I know it's not a lot. A lot of people get arrested. I don't know how many people get executed. I don't think I haven't heard of any in quite some time, but that's the problem with going after the death penalty. So they may say, okay, we won't go after the death penalty. Well, if he's not scared of the death penalty, then they say, well, you know, how about 25 to life with the possibility of parole? Otherwise, we're going for life in prison. And if you are convicted, you'll do 25 to life. You're eligible to come up for parole, but that doesn't mean that they ever have to let you go. 25 to life just means you're going to serve 25 years at least. And then they're going to bring you up on parole hearings every so often. Maybe it's every 5 years, every 10 years. Usually murderers don't do that well. Murderers don't do that well with parole boards. I mean, they have to, it just doesn't go. It's just not. But anyway, that, you know, his only chance would be to talk, you know, to lead them to the body, unless they have a slam dunk case. Hard to have a slam dunk case when you don't have a body.
Even more clear that a missing body is circumstantial evidence that there was foul play.
And I've said this 100,000 times, circumstantial evidence is just as good as physical evidence under the law.
And that it's a murder, because somebody who takes their own life cannot hide their own body. We filed this case based on the evidence that was developed during an extensive 9-month investigation. Chief Kennedy and her team left no stone unturned. I am so proud to work with Chula Vista Police Department and its brave members.
And Larry's a piece of shit, you know. The fact of the matter is, this man hasn't searched, doesn't care to search, and tells this lie to his children and to his parents. She left us. She chose to leave us. Well, it doesn't sound like that's the kind of person that she was, but it does sound like you're the kind of person who like to play with guns and threaten people and hurt people. That's what that sounds like.
To help bring May home, and in the absence of that, to find who killed her. When Chief Kennedy called on my office to assist, the answer was a resounding yes. I assembled an elite team that includes a homicide prosecutor, a district attorney investigator, a cold case homicide investigator, and a crime intelligence analyst, to name a few. We had one goal in mind. We worked hand in hand with Chula Vista Police Department to turn over every stone to solve this case. I have to pause and thank the DA team that are here with me today, the essential team that devoted themselves to this case and will continue this fight for justice going forward in the courtroom of law. Our homicide prosecutor, Christy Bowles, back here, our lead district attorney investigator, James Rhodes, and our cold case homicide investigator, Matt Grindley, along with our crime intelligence analyst, Peter Villafort, who you will learn was able to uncover some key evidence.
That's what I'm saying. They have evidence. They have evidence. They don't have a body, but they have evidence, or else they wouldn't risk this. I mean, he's already entered a plea of not guilty. That could always change. Will he have a come to Jesus moment? Hard to say, but the fact is, for 9 months, I believe it is, he hasn't. He just hasn't. So I don't know if he will have that come to Jesus moment. But I really hope so. I hope, it's one of the things you say, oh, do the right thing. Well, it is the right thing to do after the worst thing that you could do is done. In my situation, my mother didn't go missing. She was murdered, but my father was on the run for some days. He was hiding out, and eventually he turned himself in, and he was going to do the non-guilty thing. And then they offered him a deal. Unfortunately, as I've told, I've spoke with my grandparents, my grandma, my mother's mom. We've talked about this, before. Not a deal I would have accepted at the time, but I was just a kid. It wasn't my decision. I understand why she did it. No deals. I hate them. Cases like this, you might have to make a deal. You don't want to, but no, I thought, that there were eyewitnesses to the murder, all this stuff of my mother, surviving victims. I would have shoved it up his ass all the way through trial. That's just me. I was a little kid. My grandma and grandpa, obviously at the time, nobody's really versed in this stuff. Unfortunately, I am now. So if a situation like that was to happen now, I would say no deal. But I understand why. I get why.
With the support of Chief Deputy District
Don't make deals with murderers.
Attorney Tracy Pryor and
Not me.
Commander Eric Nava. Thanks so much that San Diego shined, as it always does, with collaboration with the FBI, U.S. Marshal, NCIS joining us as they have whenever there was a call to duty.
I hope they don't either. I hope they don't.
I'm going to provide a brief synopsis of the evidence. Understand that a lot of the evidence cannot be shared. It will be shared in the courtroom. However, there is an unsealed portion of the arrest warrants that includes evidence that would not compromise additional investigation. This case, the investigation in this case, while we know that Larry MILLETE.
My dad got 25 to life. He's been in for over 30. He's been up for parole probably 5 or 6 times, denied every time. One as recent as 3 months ago that I attended. They took old age into consideration, and they just basically told him that he had a criminal mind and that he wasn't safe on the street, which I agree with. Unfortunate as that may be, it's my father. But I don't really have any sympathy for him.
Is responsible for the murder is ongoing and bringing May home to have a proper burial for her family is
It's true,
ongoing.
yes.
So what you will get is the things that will not compromise a jury trial. One of the main reasons I'm providing this is that now that Larry MILLETE has been arrested and is being held on no bail, it is our experience that there are people out there that often have information, but they feel uncomfortable, they feel worried, they feel scared, they have loyalties, and they don't come forward until an arrest is made. We've experienced that repeatedly. We are hopeful that now is the time that you come forward if you have any information. We also know more facts now that might help somebody who saw the vehicle that we believe was the transport vehicle that was used to dispose of May's body, to search their memories and understand from what I'm going to describe that there is no specific location and that the radius may be very vast and large. So it can be someone in the county, somebody outside our county. That's why we appreciate the media attention that hopefully will allow someone to see this and think, I did see Alexis pulled off the road somewhere on January 8th of 2021, and to call us and provide that piece to the family of May. The investigators found, and when I say the investigators, I mean Chula Vista Police Department, working with the DA's office, working with our partners, that starting in 2020 and continuing until January 7 of 2021, May wanted a divorce for many reasons. Her husband, Larry, did not want the divorce. May was committed to her 3 young children.
Tale as old as time, unfortunately. Same thing with my mother.
They were the center of her life.
It's like these women are too good for these pieces of shit, and they finally realize it, and they're tired of taking the abuse and realize, hey, I could get a much, much better man, somebody who treats me with respect and love, makes me feel safe. And the psychotic, jealous pile knows that they'll never get another woman near, the caliber that they did. And they just can't handle it. They become a woman hating, degenerate who hates the fact that they're getting left in the dust. She's too beautiful. She's too smart. She's got too much ambition. This guy sucks. They just don't want to be treated like shit anymore, and they don't need to be treated like it anymore. And they have a moment where they said, let's get out of here. Larry didn't like that.
She wanted to continue being a parent, and she tried to negotiate that they can be parents to their children.
And he took it all from her. I can't have you. Nobody can have you. Nobody. Yep, Teresa. My dad actually said those exact words about my mother. It's unbelievable. These people are not property. You don't own anybody except yourself.
But not subject the children to a toxic relationship. But Larry would not have it. In homicide cases, there is often a triggering event. In this case, on January 7 of 2021, May was no longer talking about divorce. She took that step, and the last call recorded that May made was to a divorce attorney. She did not make any further calls.
Yeah, and so Larry tells us that she left. Yeah, dude, likely. No money, no activity on her cards, cell phones. She just left. She just disappeared off the face of the earth because that's what normal people know how to do. They're James Bond. They're the Jason Bourne. They're get out of my face, Larry, you lying sack of shit.
When she called the divorce attorney on January 7th, we know that Larry was aware because he sent text messages that were screenshot to his boss that let him know that this was final, that it was coming. It also turns out, and this is from extensive search warrants, everything is done by the book, extensive search warrants that were.
All right. So if you take a look at it like this, okay, you have a woman who's in a toxic relationship. There's reports of it. She doesn't want to be married to this psycho who has illegal firearms, a temper, doesn't want to be left behind, blah, blah, blah. She speaks to a divorce attorney, and all of a sudden she's gone. All of a sudden she's gone. She's just she's gone. Right. And Larry wants people to think, oh yeah, man, yes, me. I don't know if that's enough to convict somebody in court just on that, but that's very, very damning already. I mean, up until the point where she went, there's got to be, they have more evidence after the fact. I'm sure of it.
Were done by Chula Vista Police Department with the help of our team.
Yeah, she got gone, meaning
a trail
she was killed.
Things that were happening that were of great concern. Larry was trying to hold on to May, and he resorted to contacting what are called spellcasters. I've never had a case where that was involved.
Unbelievable. It's just like, it's not funny. It's shocking. I didn't mean to giggle. I'm just shocked by the psychoticness.
These spellcasters would be asked to make May want to stay in the relationship. But as December of 2020 came, those messages to spellcasters were a lot more threatening. He was asking for May to become incapacitated, for May to be in an accident, to have broken bones so that she could stay at home, thus displaying his homicidal ideations to harm May. The January 7th date was very clear. She not only had called the divorce lawyer, but she had set an appointment for January 12th to meet with the divorce lawyer in order to carry out the divorce. She wanted that date and not Friday, January 7th, because their daughter had a birthday that she had planned. And again, the kids were the center of her world. And she did not want to do anything to disrupt that birthday that was going to take place on January 10. The last text message that May sent was on January 7th at 8:15 p.m. to her family. She sent that on Facebook Messenger. That's another set of warrants that were done.
Hey, Jackie.
In the afternoon of January 7, Larry MILLETE sent a really telling text. He said, "I think she wants me to snap, and I'm shaking inside, ready to snap."
Well, he did. He snapped. And now tell us where the body is. Tell us where she is. Tell us what you did with her. And maybe they won't send you to a prison down in South America somewhere. That would be nice. U.S. prison's going to be too good for him.
At 9:21 p.m. on January 7th, Larry screenshot from his account cryptocurrency amounts of money that were in his cryptocurrency to his two daughters, ages 11.
Cryptocurrency. Of course he had cryptocurrency. And it probably wasn't even Bitcoin. It was probably some like Dogecoin or some weird thing. God, like you can already see that this case is, it's to me strong as hell. This case is already strong as hell just from what this lady's saying right here. So then she just disappears. Larry?
And 9. May's phone activity stopped on January 8th at 1:25 a.m. On January 9th, Larry Millette's spellcaster messages that had been sent on a daily basis turned from May to wanting to punish a man that he blames for the failed relationship. This was before Maricris had called the police about May being missing. Now we go to November 8th. Security video retained by Chula Vista PD showed the defendant on January 8th at 5:58 a.m. in the morning, moving his Lexus
Oh yeah,
GX
no doubt.
4
They definitely do.
Lexus with the license plate that bears the name Melani. The Lexus
Golf Coast, I'm
was
glad to hear
already
that.
backed into the driveway, but Larry Millete repositioned that Lexus.
You know, and it's not even, you know, we talk about abusers and a lot of people, a lot of women that have survived abuse from their ex-husbands or current husbands. It's not always all physical. I mean, you know, just the fear, the intimidation factor alone can be enough to just completely ruin somebody. When, you know, you say you're going to hit them and call them foul and dirty names and say they're worthless in front of their kids, I mean, you're stealing their identity and soul from them, and they're becoming a prisoner to you. And women especially, you know, I'm sure it happens to men, not as frequently, and that's just the way it is. And you know, that's a topic for another time. The fact is that, like, there's so many different ways to abuse people, and from physically to mentally and emotionally, both. Yeah, mind tricks, all kinds of different scary stuff, you know. And this guy didn't want to be left in the dust, and he was going to be left in the dust to hang out with his parents.
Where the back of the Lexus is in the entrance of that garage, he repositioned it where no video camera can capture.
Of course he did.
Whether a body was put in the back of the Lexus or not. But based on that positioning, we're not able to see that vantage point. At 6:45 a.m., after repositioning the car at 5:58 a.m.,
Correct.
Larry leaves, and he does not return to the house for 11 hours and 21 minutes. He leaves his phone behind so that there is no ability to track the GPS or location on the phone. He takes his 4-year-old and leaves the 2 older children at home.
Yeah, you know, my sister was a little bit older than me when this happened, and she remembers more. And I, you know, I don't remember nearly as much as she did, and that's probably a good thing. But you know, as the years have gone by, she's told me things that had happened, and you know, it's just shocking to hear that people act this way. It is very, very, very shocking.
When asked by investigators, he said that his lawyer was calling January 8th. He even told me, saying and wondering where Larry was. His father called, checking where he is, but no response.
Oh, where
The
are you,
phone
Lars?
was not operating. On January 26th, detectives served a search warrant to seize the contents of the Lexus's infotainment system. This is an older 2015 Lexus, so it doesn't have the capacity that we have today. The report generated from the download indicates a navigation event on January 8th at 3:29 p.m. in the afternoon for Larry's home address, 2413 Paseo Los Gatos. So 2.5 hours before returning to the home, he is entering his home address to get to the home. And this is why I am giving this information so the public understands that we do not have a vicinity where the body may be. It may be out 2.5 hours or even further or closer. And that's why we need the public's help.
Yeah.
Also, Larry's messages that were captured in the search warrant showed that he was informing his boss that she's serious and is going to get the divorce. Larry's father even texted him saying, "Larry, please turn on your phone." This is January 8th, because your boss is calling regarding your job.
Yeah, dude.
When a search warrant was served at the residence, they were looking for firearms registered to Larry. Despite a court order, he had not turned over one of those weapons.
Well, why would that be?
A .40 caliber gun, and it remains outstanding to today.
Oh, okay.
So again, I tell the public, if you are holding on to that weapon, this is the time to turn it over to police. Detectives also obtained security footage from the neighboring residence and observed the following. On January 7th at approximately 9:57 p.m., the sound of 9 loud bangs were recorded. Unfortunately, despite the excellent work of the FBI, they were not able to confirm whether those were gunshots based on the quality of the recording. But we truly appreciate their efforts and their continued efforts. But at 10:34 p.m., neighbors heard the children, the MILLETE children, playing in the backyard at 10:34 p.m. on January 7th. This was unusual because of the time of night. On the evening of January 8th, May's brother went to the house around 6:30 p.m. By now, Larry had returned. When he arrived to the residence, he was worried about May because they had not heard from her, and May was always in contact on her phone. He went up to her room and knocked on the door, and there was no response. And then he went out to the street and looked in her room and did not see any lights. Larry first told the brother that he was at work and doesn't know what May is doing. This is January 8th. And then he said that he changed the story and said he went to the beach with the 4-year-old. It's important to note that it was not Larry that called the police to say that May was missing.
Of course, it's important. Once again, that goes to circumstantial evidence. Why wouldn't you call your wife, who you are obsessed with, probably put one of those Apple Air tags on her wherever she went? Obsessed. When I say obsessed, I mean, we're talking spell casting obsessed, which is a whole new level of just sick and demented, psychotic. You're not worried where she is now? All of a sudden you're cool with it. You're like, oh, well, I'll let somebody else call. You're not fooling anybody, dude. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're an idiot. You're not smart. Everybody kind of sees right through what you're doing. So why wouldn't you call your wife in? Why? Didn't you miss her? Didn't you miss your wife that you were obsessed with, overly obsessed with, your property that you wished would break her bones and become incapacitated so she couldn't leave? You wanted her in a fucking wheelchair, excuse my language. What the hell? Wow.
It was Mary Priest who went to the house, knowing her sister is always in touch and that her sister was looking forward to the birthday in Big Bear, who called the police. Part of a no-body investigation is to look for proof of life. And in this case, for 9 months, there is no proof of life that May is alive. Case law is clear that in today's world of finances and everything being tracked, that shows no proof of life. May excelled at her job. She was.
So here's how you can tell that she's passed, or that she was murdered. Let's just be frank about it. I don't want to be sensitive about it, because she was murdered by Larry. Of that, I have absolutely no doubts. I'd stake my entire reputation on it. I'd bet my bottom dollar I would gamble going to hell on it. Now, that being said, when you're best friends with like your sister or your mother or your whatever, dude, and you're going to run off on your husband and 3 kids, which is completely absurd to even think that that would happen with a person like this. You're telling me that she just stopped texting and calling her sister? You're telling me that she just stopped getting a hold of her kids? You're telling me that she just wanted to disappear off the face of the earth to get away from you? No, she wanted her family, Larry. She didn't want you. And that you couldn't abide, could you? Nope, not good enough. So what you're saying is that you want everybody to believe that she ran off, left her kids. Please.
Committed to her.
You're guilty. You killed her. Where is she? Just tell. I mean, come on, dude. That's the thing too. Like, you did what you did. Now you don't get to live your life normally. Sorry. It's over. Go to prison. Frig off.
Career. She loved her children.
Tell your kids. Do it for your kids, Larry. Do it for your kids. Don't do it for you. Your life's done, and they have a whole life ahead of them. Do it for them. Salvage their future. Please. Do something right for the first time ever. Do it for the kids, man. If you've never done a decent thing in your life, and it sounds like you probably haven't, you pile. Do it for your children. Do it for her family. Like you messed up. You made a huge mistake. The biggest mistake you can make. Huge mistake. Own it. Put your name on it. Put your name on it, dude. Own it. You did it. Nobody else did this. And that's a fact.
She was looking for.
There's no other suspects, bub. So it's time to get it together. It's time to get it together.
Forward to a.
Tell them where she is. Skip all this trial. Skip it all. You don't need a trial. Just confess. Yeah, he pled not guilty, like a piece. Yeah, he pled not guilty like 4 or 5 days ago. And hopefully he rethinks that because he sucks very, very badly.
Birthday that was coming up that she had planned. And after January 7th at 8:15 p.m. in the evening, that was her last communication to anyone via text, social media, or phone call.
Yeah, and that's not like her, right? So what happened, Larry? You went to the beach with your 4-year-old? You took your 4-year-old along?
The team also looked at all of the finances, and while she had a savings account and she was making a decent living, there was no withdrawal from any account, not before, not during. All her valuables were left in the house. All 4 cars
Her valuables, including her children.
are accounted for.
Oh, so she didn't even take her car to run off with. She didn't pack a toothbrush. Is that what you're saying, Larry?
But a key piece of evidence was where was May's phone? Because being able to track that phone gives you a really important piece of the story. And after an extensive recreation and experiment that was done in September of 2021, it was clear that May's phone was in that San Miguel Ranch neighborhood at her home or thereabouts. That means that May did not leave, did not go anywhere. She always had her phone.
Yeah, like most everybody else in the world. So where's we need proof of life, Larry? Where's the proof? You got any of it? Anything at all? Just even a shred. One little bit would work. It would help. Anything. In 9 months, you got any one little piece? Tell me. No, you don't.
The financial evidence, which is very, very important. This arrest would not have been possible without the tremendous efforts of Chula Vista Police Department Chief Roxana Kennedy and her team. And I also, again, want to thank my team for working hand in hand with the Chula Vista Police Department. We ask the public at this point to call with any tips with regard to a Lexus GX460 black license plate Milani. If you saw that vehicle anytime on January 8th, please call and report that information. If you have any information about the missing .40 caliber gun, please call and report that information. If you have any evidence at all that you're aware of, please call and provide that information. While this arrest and the filing of charges starts us down the path of justice, this is not a win. We've lost a life, and all we can do is pursue justice fairly in order to bring justice to this family. Thank you.
Thank you to Chief Kennedy and San Diego County District Attorney Summer Steffen. At this point, I'm going to ask Mary Chris, who's the spokesperson for May and May's family, to come up, and she's going to provide a few words. Thank you, Mary Chris.
Love you. We love you, Mary Chris. Thank you. What are you doing?
I would want to say thank you, everyone, for being here today, for all your support. Of course, I want to thank Chula Vista Police Department for relentlessly working on my sister's case to this point. Chief Roxana Kennedy, thank you so much. You tell us you're praying for my sister. That means a lot to us. The DA's office, thank you so much. Summers, Stephen, thank you so much, and all your team, thank you. They told us they've been working hard day and night, working on my sister's case, even though we don't see it, but they're working hard to hopefully to get to this point. It's been 9 months, and also with the community support, we were able to do it. Sorry, it is just overwhelming at this time for me. I'm still trying to take it today. It's been really hard. He's a family. He's our family. It's hard to go against a family. He's been with us for 20 years. My sister did love him. She gave him 3 kids. She just can't let him go. And this is still not the end. We still have a long way to go. We're still asking the public, please help us bring my sister home.
We will, Mari Chris. We will.
I still want to see my sister. I still want her to come home to us. Please, if you know anything at all, please help us. We are pleading. I still want her to come home. We did a promise to her 11-year-old daughter that we will bring her mom home, please. Let the kids know where their mommy is at. Let them know the truth, that they'll still be brought up
And that she didn't abandon them.
healthy.
She didn't just get up and leave. I also want to thank the media for never giving up on the family, on Maya's case. You guys put her face on all the televisions, newscasts, social media. You guys never gave up on us. And you guys didn't let this case become a cold case. Just like the police department. Thank you, everybody, men and women in blue. We love you guys.
Thank you.
And the community that supported us every weekend, every week. Prayers. Every Thursday we do prayers. Thank you to all the community that came out and every search.
Even the weekdays.
Rain, shine, desert, ticks and all. We were out there searching for our sister, so
We're not going anywhere.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, thank you so much, everyone. It's all a teamwork from everybody. Thank you. We are bringing justice to my sister and we'll bring her home. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
And ongoing investigation, we still do not have May's body. And somebody out there may have saw something, or they may know exactly where she is. That person can remain anonymous. They can report it to Crime Stoppers, or they can call the Chula Vista Police Department or the District Attorney's Office. And please provide that information. All it could take is one tip, one lead to lead us to where May's body is. With that, I will open it up to a few questions. If they are specific to the District Attorney's Office, let me know. If they're specific to the Chula Vista Police Department, I'll be happy to try to answer that.
Question for Summer, please. Summer, I realize that you're not going to talk in depth about the evidence, but can you tell us the guns that were confiscated and the other things taken from the house? Does any of that constitute physical evidence that points you to their involvement? Or is this just largely a circumstantial case?
Yeah, I can't talk about the evidence, but it is a case that's built on a piece by piece circumstantial evidence at this point.
Does that concern you in the process of prosecuting?
No, we've prosecuted several missing body cases. Fortunately, in one of them recently, the body was discovered right before the trial. We're hoping that that happens really to bring finality to the family. But we feel very confident about the prosecution and the evidence that we have.
District Attorney, are you able to seek the death penalty without a body? And I have a follow-up.
Seeking the death penalty is not related to whether you have a body or not. It's related to whether we have a special circumstance. Right now, the charges are murder, and there is not an alleged special circumstance. A special circumstance is something like the murder was committed in the course of a robbery or kidnap or rape. Those are things that constitute a special circumstance. Maybe some evidence will develop of a special circumstance, but at this point, we have a murder.
And would it be a mitigating factor in Larry Millete's favor if he were to reveal where Maya's body is?
We always want to know where the body is, and we hope that anybody with good conscience will allow May's family and her children to have a burial place to visit their mother.
Are you working with the South Department area? Is he talking?
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
we don't answer that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, this is an active and ongoing investigation. There is a lot of questions that we can answer. We obviously want to protect the case, like the Chief Kennedy and District Attorney Summer Stefanitz said. This is going to go in front of a jury. At that point, the case will be laid out to a jury. So until that happens, there's a lot.
All right, so I mean that's kind of the long and short of that. Yeah, you know, her it's hard to watch her heart break right in front of your eyes. Sorry, I understand. Most people do. I mean, you don't even have to like go through that situation, but you know how she says, you know, it's still not over, and I know that as well. it's never, it's the problem is it's never going to be over. It never ends. It never goes away. Sorry. Sorry. Trying to, I'm sorry. I know what it's like. Appreciate you guys being here. Take care. I'm fine. I promise.